A bad thing happened. I was pouring too much on this side and the form shifted over. So I've been trying to get stuff out, but I can't move the form.
Okay, hold on.
From all the dust floating around inside a woodshop, it's the tiniest particles, smaller than about 1 micron, that are the real threat to your health. For the past 10 years, my dust collector has been buzzing away inside this little cellar in my shop. It's worked hard, but not efficiently. It's impossible for it to catch those tiny dust particles with just a fabric bag as a filter. Modern dust collectors spiral the dust through a funnel. The big particles fall to the floor, and only the tiny particles are pushed to the filter, so it doesn't get clogged up. I chose the Oneida system, which checked all the boxes except for its height requirements. Luckily, it also offers a smaller 35-gallon barrel. For the remainder, I will have to dig down into the basement slab. After emptying the room, I mark the area where I'll dig down into the basement slab. To cut the outline, I used my circular saw with a concrete blade, and I did a few passes over every cut. It was really great having some extra helping hands for the vacuum and water spray to keep the dust under control. After a few tries, I realized that the sledgehammer was not going to cut it, so I rented a jackhammer to break through the slab. In under an hour, we were down through to dirt, and the excavation process sped up significantly. Once we had our target depth, we filled the pit with 4 inches of gravel and leveled and compacted it. The groundwater levels were well below the slab, but just to be safe, we lined the pit with a waterproof layer of vapor barrier. This is the form that will allow me to pour the concrete walls of the pit. I reinforced it with 2x4s, sanded the sides, and then covered it in polyurethane so it releases easily. I'll also be adding this border to the top of the form, and that will create a ledge along the top of the pit that I can set a board down into level with the floor. We used Quikrete for this job. We also added a few dabs of water reducer and some alkali-resistant glass fibers that we had from a previous concrete project. That'll just make the concrete a little bit stronger. I don't have a lot of experience with concrete, so I didn't anticipate what was about to happen. The camera captures the dreadful moment when the form starts sliding as I pour in the concrete.
A bad thing happened. I was pouring too much on this side and the form shifted over. So I've been trying to get stuff out, but I can't move the form.
Okay, hold on.
Oh my god, it's not moving.
Fortunately, we had rented a concrete vibrator, and we were able to use it to loosen the concrete enough for it to be able to push the form back into the center of the pit and save the day. The concrete vibrator assured that we had good concrete coverage along the 2-inch walls, and it allowed us to press this piece of trim into the thick concrete. With the leftover concrete, we show how happy we are that this part of the job is over. The sides of the form needed some strong persuasion to come out. If I do this again, I'll build the form a little bit differently to make the teardown easier. We caused a little bit of damage to the vapor barrier when we wrestled the form out, but there's nothing that a little bit of tuck tape can't fix. Time for the pouring of the floor of the pit. I found this first batch a little bit too thick, so I adjusted the ratios with the second, and that worked a lot better. We are almost ready for the new dust collector. Almost. I did some sanding to remove any flaking paint, and then a quick scrub with TSP. With everything cleaned up, it's ready to paint. I started with the ceiling and then moved down onto the walls. This paint was left over from another project, and I thought it would look really nice against the bright yellow of the dust collector. And then finally, it's time to install the new dust collector. It's important that there's no gap in this gasket joint because the system needs to be airtight to function well. So I cut the gasket strip a little bit long and then squished it into place. With the gaskets all set up, it's time to install the mount that'll hold the dust collector up. There's not enough height in this room to install the motor with the body already mounted on the wall bracket, so we'll assemble the dust collector inside the pit and then just pump it up into place. The motor is the heaviest part of this dust collector, but having it lowered inside the pit made it surprisingly easy to lift up into place. This is where the air goes after having been spun around and separated in the cyclone. It passes out through here into the cylindrical filter. Luckily, there was just enough room in the cellar for everything to fit. I had obviously looked at the specifications and made measurements to make sure that everything would fit, but you don't really know until the day comes that you're installing that it will go according to plan. I was extremely relieved when everything did in fact fit. I installed the power outlet off camera, and I'm now fitting the PVC pipe, which is the last thing to install before we can turn this thing on. I was really happy to see how well this worked. My overarm dust collection didn't work so great with the last collector, and with the new one, just a couple of specks made it out at the very end of the cut. I was only able to install this awesome dust collector by hacking my shop space. That said, cutting into your basement slab is not for the faint of heart. Now, onto some actual woodworking.